everybody, it is I, Margaret. I'm a Mississippi native, transplanted to Atlanta, Georgia for a 4-year stint, but I am now firmly rooted in Texas for our retirement and loving it, as I might need to add. Now, the reason I bring all this up is because I have a lot of new subscribers that really don't know me from Adam's House Cap, and that's going to come into play in just a minute. But first of all, I've got a lot to talk to you about because it's been a while. For example, I do have some finished objects to talk about, and mainly this is huge, big on the list. Knitcrate, you know, that company that I love that does all these high-end yarns, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But they're just starting a brand new company. It's a sister company, and it's called Yarn Rush. What they're doing is getting, I guess, great buys on brand name type yarns like big box yarns. And then they're going to turn around and give them discounted to us from 30 to 50%. So I'm not sure of the details on how this is going to work. The whole thing actually launches on July 17th, but you can sign up now, and by getting your friends to sign up, you can earn free yarn. So what I need you to do is look in the description box of this video, click my link to get your link, and it we pass on the wealth to one another. So I'm not sure how it's all going to work, but looking really forward to it, because the big box store yarns are primarily what I use because I am primarily a charity knitter and crocheter. So I'm giving this stuff away. I look for good bargains. I never buy at full price so that I can purchase more to help more people. That's the goal, right? So I really, really like the idea of this yarn rush. So we'll learn more about it on July 17th. But go ahead, and if you're interested in something like this, go ahead, look in the description box, click my link, and get your own link so that you can earn some free yarn. But speaking of yarn and speaking of Knitcrate, here we have June 2020's Knitcrate, and the topic, or the theme, I guess you should say, is called Getaway. And this is the yarn I got. And I know it's going to be a huge shock to you when I say it is beautiful. I love everything Knitcrate has sent me, and I'm not one of those people who go in and pre-check my colors, you know, order my colors. And a lot of people, you can do that, and I don't do that. I'm like, just send me whatever, because I like the surprise, and I've never been disappointed. Now, this is by Audine Wools, and they make stuff exclusively for Knitcrate, and it's called Interlock, and it's made of this. Now, get this. 34% cotton, 35% linen, 19% lyocell, 11% nylon, and it is 351 yards or 100 grams. Machine wash gentle and lay flat, as we always do with our finer yarns like this. Now, my colorway is called Pigment in this orange, and you can see the different pigments are present. You can see little light sections and darker sections. It gives that mottled effect, which I am quite partial to. So I'm really looking forward to using that. Now, something that Knitcrate does and has been doing for a while is they pick one of their influencers to feature. And I'm going to point this one out specifically because I have a lot of crocheters that visit my channel. And this is tlyarncrafts.com. Look that up if you haven't seen her already. She's a designer and educator specializing in crochet and Tahitian crochet. Her name is Tony. So check her out for some pretty things. Now, I'm covering up down here because only Knitcrate members can download this little package, this little magazine that has our free patterns in it that are designed for use with this. But right here is a picture of Tony, I believe, and so we can visit her site and see what it is she has to offer. And I know crocheters are always looking for new and different and more modern type things to work on. So let's check her out. Since I last talked to you, we've had the wedding. Maggie and Brian got married. Yes, it was a much pared down version than what we had originally planned, but it was a sweet ceremony. It was wonderful. And yes, we're still going to have that great big reception somewhere down the road. We just don't know when. Texas has actually rewound a little bit and brought the numbers back down about, you know, how many how much restaurant capacity and blah, 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 blah. And we all have to wear masks across the state whenever you go into any public place. So all I know is I'll be really glad when we get a handle on this virus situation. It's really hard, but I don't have to tell you that. It's happening all the way around the world, isn't it? When I sit down to do a video, I tend to think I'm talking to the same people over and over again. Kind of like, you know, my own crafting group that I see on a regular basis. And I forget that just anybody can sort of walk in the door and watch what's going on and join in the conversation, which I absolutely love, don't get me wrong. But because my mindset forgets about that sometimes I read comments and I'm like, what? They know me better than that. And I forget, not everybody watches all my videos. So those of you who were making comments on the fact that in the last video, I was showing how I print out a pattern and then I use a sticky note to mark my place. And I had several people suggest the, can't remember what it's called, but it's an app that you use to follow along. And actually, you can pull up a PDF on it and you can digitally mark your place. Well, I got all excited when I saw that, and I don't know why, because I've tried this in the past and I hated it. I did not like using it. Not because I'm not a technological person. And again, those of you who don't know me, I started out. I am far more computer literate than I am craft literate. Believe it or not. I used to even do IT for a real estate firm. Computers are my thing. Technology is my thing. And so it would surprise a lot of you to know that I don't like to use an app for that purpose. Many times in my life, I find a pencil and paper is faster and more efficient than putting it into a computer or a phone, what have you, technology. Now, what I don't like about it, and let me just tell you, I tried it out and it is an awesome app. It really is well written, seems to work well, no bugs, things like that. So that's terrific. However, what I don't like about using an app to follow my patterns or mark my patterns is, number one, there it sits beside me with the battery on, and the fact that the light is there when I'm trying to watch TV, and usually the room is sort of darkened. I have one light on so that I can see what I'm doing here, but the fact that it's there with the light catches my eye and bothers the stew out of me. So you could say, well, turn it off, Margaret. Well, what a pain in the neck. Let's turn it off, and then every time I mark a row, I have to pick up my phone, turn it on. You know, I have the face thing on so it recognizes who I am, but in the dark, it might not recognize who I am. Plus, I put my glasses on and then I have that piece of paper right here that lifts them up. Again, you don't know that if you don't watch my videos on a regular basis. I fold tissue and I put it right there, and it helps me to I can see through the bifocals without having to do my neck like this. Silly thing, if anybody saw me, they would laugh at me, but sometimes my face recognition doesn't work, so then you have to punch in the code. That's just too much trouble when I could take a piece of paper and move the sticky note. Okay, makes all the sense in the world to me. That's an instance where it's too much trouble. Now, I understand that and this is another thing, people were saying, you need to look after the environment. And I was like, are you saying that to me? What? And then I remember, not everybody has been watching my videos all this time. I am a huge environmentalist, so to speak. I would think my carbon footprint is very small compared to the average American. And just quickly, I'll show you some of the things that I do on an everyday basis. For example, here in the kitchen, I haven't bought garbage bags in 30-something years. That's not true. I've probably bought like 2 boxes of garbage bags over 30-something years. For liners, we use things like this. This is Costco toilet tissue, and it comes in this big pre-wrapped bag. Well, you just cut it open carefully and it makes a perfect garbage bag for the big liner. And in the meantime, we will use these smaller bags that we get from the grocery. I'll just clip them on here with binder clips and they stay nice and secure. You can hold very heavy amounts of garbage like this. Done this for years. This happens to be a cleaner's bag that, you know, like you get your clothes back from the cleaners and you do that. I just tie a knot in the part where the hanger is, and it's a perfect substitute for a tall kitchen garbage bag. See, kind of like this. The paper towels come in a large outer bag, so we would just slit across the top like that when we open them and unfold the corners. And basically you've got a terrific, very tough garbage bag. And in case you're wondering, yes, I use reusable grocery bags as well. This one happens to be my favorite. It's insulated like this, and then I have my reusable bags, which are, you know, I take those in on a regular basis too. But here's the deal. If you only use reusable bags like this, then you're going to have to eventually purchase garbage bags anyway. So that's wasteful for the environment too. Now we're down here looking under my sink. Here's a recycled milk bone container, and in it I keep fabric scraps. These are perfect for washing dishes if you want to, or what if you've got something greasy that you have got to clean up. This is a great way to absorb some of the grease and throw it away. Most people would have thrown this fabric away anyway, so why not find a use for it? And then back here are sponges that I got for free. For my birthday and for Christmas, my mother-in-law always sends us fruit, and it comes packaged in these special little spongy containers that protect the fruit and keeps them from getting bruised. So I chop them up into small pieces and use them as kitchen sponges. And so are these things. They're all from different types of deliveries that we've received, and I just cut it up into sponge-like pieces, and that's what I use for cleaning, because they're also disposable, so you don't let them harbor bacteria. Back here is a recycled container. I don't even remember what was in it, and these are the little bags that you get when you get produce at the grocery store. I check these to make sure they don't have any holes, and then I just kind of put them in here in this bag, and this becomes our dog walking bags. So I don't have to buy those bags to clean up after my pet. And here we have some pet treats. And they always come in the nicest, toughest bags with zip closures and things like this. Not all of this is recyclable. You have to know what your area does. To my knowledge, nobody recycles this type of plastic. Many people are uneducated about what their services do in their area, and they will just throw this in the recycling and think that they've done a good thing. But oftentimes it'll just get tossed in the garbage when it comes to sorting, so you haven't helped a thing. But I have a good use for these things. I do save them and put them to use. And that use is cleaning the cat box, the dreaded task. Here is a bag similar to the treat bag. It's the Dr. Teal's Epsom salts that I use for my bath. And I love these things and will continue to buy them, but then you feel so wasteful when you have these plastic bags like this. So this is what I use to clean out the cat box. You can kind of keep it here for a couple of days and still use it to fill it up, and it doesn't give any odor because the closure's so nice and the plastic is thick, so it's awesome. And I forgot to point out that the cat box sits in a plastic zippered box that a comforter came in about 20 years ago. Now these are great for storing yarn and other things too, but here I'm using it to protect my wall and floor. And up here in the cabinet, you can see I have a pet container one. I also use things that are mailed to me. I use those types of containers. What was this? I think a t-shirt was wrapped in that. But any of these mailing bags that you get are awesome. Even the ones that are like, do I have any more? I don't. Even the ones that are like the brown Amazon bags with the bubble wrap inside, those are awesome. So, think about it. If it's not recyclable one way, reuse it instead. And I think everybody knows that plastic bottles can be recycled, but what they don't realize is the recycling companies want them washed out. Many people don't do that, and oftentimes they'll just get thrown away because they can't be used if they're not washed out. So this is Tucker's shampoo bottle. When we use it all up, he put it over here, and then when I take my bath, once I get out, I use the water as it's draining out. I use the water to rinse that out. And if you don't use water like that, you could waste a lot of water doing all that rinsing. So think about ways to conserve water. And then right there you can see a bottle, a little jar, plastic jar that I've recycled, and in it is baking soda. And baking soda is a great item because you can clean with it. It's a gentle abrasive. It's a chemical-free exfoliant. You can use it on your face and it doesn't do a lot of damage as some of the hard scrubs with the apricot and what is the other stuff they use, plastic pellets and all that. It's also good for polishing teeth if you have a little surface stains or something like that. Occasional use of baking soda. I buy it in great big bags and then I have it spread out in different places in jars. See, here's a mayonnaise jar that has some in there. And while we're looking at recycling things, this right here, this little thing with compartment, this is the insert from a Lego advent calendar. Thomas used to get those every year, and I thought, man, those are awesome for sorting things. And then here I have a bag of cotton balls, but it really doesn't have cotton balls in it. What it has is recycled cotton that comes from the vitamin jars. And another thing we did when we built this house was we were very careful to put upgrades in here, like special insulation and windows and whatnot. But one of my favorite things is this hot water heater, which not only is incredibly energy efficient and has instant on water, so you don't have to waste water when you turn it on, but we also have a timer on it. And that timer we have set to come on at different times during the day, so it's not constantly running. I turn it off all night long and parts of the day, so we save a lot of energy that way. And that's just a few of them. This is, I've been a recycler since before there was such a thing as curbside recycling. Carrying up my bags, loading them in the trunk, taking them to the recycling center, which was what it was called. And even then, you only had certain things that could be recycled back then. But I do care a lot about the environment, but I don't think it would be a big problem if I'm going to print my pattern, take one sticky note and use it, and then recycle the whole thing. I don't think I'm hurting the environment too much with that one.
But let's also remember the huge problem that batteries cause our environment. The more you use your device's battery, the more electricity you'll use to charge it. Plus, and here's the worst part, the faster it's going to wear out, and there's a huge problem with battery disposal that we're all contributing to.
But your point is well taken because you're preaching to the choir. I like that. Now, also in another video, we were talking about the fact that crochet stitches often go by different names. And we all thought that was kind of weird and confusing. And it was brought to my attention that it could be that, you know, these things were named years ago in different countries. And that's true. And now what happened, I subscribe to this theory, that now with the internet bringing us all together, we're discovering, oh, you call that that? I call that this. And so that's pretty much how that happened. Just think about the basic crochet terms and how they differ in the UK than they do with American terms. So, you know, we just were not as homogenized back then as we tend to be now with the internet. So we are learning that different stitches have different names. Now, there was a specific stitch that I asked you about to see if you knew of any other names for the seed stitch or lemon peel stitch. That's two names right there. And sure enough, people knew some other ones. Now, just to refresh your memory, what is the seed or lemon peel stitch? Remember, it's single crochet, double crochet all the way across, and then when you reverse it, you put the double in the single and the single in the double all the way across. So let me know if you know any more names. Now, both Julie and Petra told us they've heard that stitch called the griddle stitch. Both Dawn and Marie pointed out that it's called the houndstooth stitch if you're doing it in two different colors. And essentially you would do one row and then you'd come back, change colors and do another row like that. And it gives you this houndstooth look, you know, like that suiting fabric that you've seen before. And it does, it kind of looks like that. But what if you do the double crochet and single crochet in the same stitch? Then you skip a stitch and do it again, double crochet, single crochet in the same stitch. Okay, that sounds a lot like it would be the seed stitch, but there's that variation. you're putting 2 stitches in one and you're skipping the second one. Well, that's called the Suzette stitch, and it's completely different. It's not completely different, but yet it is in crochet world, okay? That is a different stitch, and you're going to get a different look. Just a small variation. Jan Kirk had pointed that out for us, and then F. Smeets, who's from the Netherlands, says that they call the seed stitch the Suzette stitch. She also says, I think globalization causes this confusion too. And that's exactly what I was saying, but she said it in a much more sophisticated term with proper vocabulary. Margaret Ford has my favorites though. She's called it or seen it called, the wobble stitch and the drunken granny. I love that. And being, upright and down low, up, down low, drunken granny, I guess I could see that. So I guess the moral of the story is, we know more stitches than we think we do. We may know the technical way to do a stitch, but understand that it goes by a bazillion names. As a matter of fact, and I think I mentioned this before, I have 2 wonderful crochet books, neither of which give any names to the stitches that they teach. They're all numbered, and that's probably the safest way to do it, don't you think? I may have more to talk about because it has been a while since I've done a video, but I'm going to cut it off right here so I can get this thing edited and up in time for you to participate in that Yarn Rush. What is it called? It's a pre-launch, I guess it is. Look in the description box below, click on my link, which will take you to a place where you can get your own link and share it with your friends if you're interested in that type of thing. So we will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.